You are listening to episode 92 of Paper Player. I'm your host, Tony. I'm joined with Josh, Jeff, and JB, and we'll be joined with a special guest a little bit later to talk some Legacy, but I'm sure if you guys haven't heard, Legacy had a little bit of a shakeup. But aside from all that, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I just want to let you guys know that there's an ability to connect with us on socials, and the way to do that would be YouTube is going to be our primary one. I'd like for people to connect with us the most on, and then Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Discord. And then if you didn't see the show live and you don't want to watch the video version of it, you can always see the audio version via Spotify or Apple. And then lastly, if you want to be a part of the show or call on after, more than welcome to do the after show, and then we host. It's done via our Discord. And then lastly, just make sure that you like and subscribe to the video so then you have a chance to be part of our giveaways. This week we got another hot, spicy 10 other cards, and I don't really remember what they are. I just kind of picked them out of my binder and we went from there.
Tony's
Again,
also a boomer. Tony's also a boomer and he has a landline, so feel free to call him on his landline.
Dude, I mean, how much does it cost to get a landline from?
I don't think it's more than like $20.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sick.
That would be the way to go about it. But, so, if you guys haven't realized it yet, or the way to connect to us via YouTube is just the like and subscribe. And then if you want to be part of the giveaway, all you have to do is through episodes 91 through 100, you just have to be subscribed and make sure that your subscription via YouTube settings is public. If it is not, I won't be able to find it. But let's get going right away with the drawing so then we can get into some real magic stuff. All right, so I guess I can disable my cam real quick.
Pretty sure I'm the only camera you have on the screen right now.
No.
Yeah.
On the live stream, it's me. I'm on my. It's via whatever it's called. Secret.
Why do I
casting.
even have my camera on, bro?
I don't know. I don't
I'm
control
so
that.
upset right now.
Now you have it on. Okay. So what's
If I
that?
look at my camera, it's mirrored.
Okay,
So
so
looks like I'm doing it.
we'll go to raffle, and I'm gonna turn off my camera real quick so I can get adjusted. Okay, cool.
Can we see the cards? I want to see the cards.
Yeah, well, I'm getting that set up right now.
Hurry
Gotta
up!
work on it, man. Gotta
Gosh,
work on
dude.
it.
What are you doing? Can I play the Jeopardy? Oh, that's actually kind of close. Let's kind of go down. A half step. What is it?
Extra quiet. Best podcast ever.
I'm trying to do the Jeopardy thing on piano, but
It's because me and you are beating on each other, and Tony's getting the shit
I
ready.
can still talk. It's just like, what? All right, Josh, you play any Magic this week?
Oh,
I tried to, but Jim did not get out of meetings. It's busy at work.
lame.
What did I do? I discovered that Sylvan Library was printed at Uncommon. So I put a Sylvan Library into the cube.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
I had a secret layer Ravenous Chupacabra showed up, so I cut this Chupacabra out of the cube. Foil OG one.
Yeah, whatever. It's way cooler looking than the new one.
I also discovered I didn't have a cast out in the cube, so I put cast out in.
Cast
I
out's
don't
pretty
have a
good.
fatal push. I am in the market for a secret lair, or whatever it was, Magic Fest Philadelphia, or MagicCon, or whatever GP regional qualifier Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
The fatal push promo. I am in the market for one of those. What else did I do? Yeah, that was it. That was my Magic Expanse. Boom. Random number generator.
I haven't played any paper Magic this week, but I've been playing a lot of Leagues of Pioneer online, trying to get ready for the RCQ on Saturday. It's been a lot of fun, actually. Like, I've had ups and downs, a lot of 4-1s, 3s and 2s. I think I did a total of like 10 or 11 leagues.
Did you get any 5-0s?
I've gotten 2. Yeah.
Nice. That's sick.
Nice.
It's always fun.
Um,
You feel so
Pretty
good
good.
when you get a 5-0. You're like, oh,
hell
yeah,
yeah.
let's get
Not
it.
easy to do.
I
Yeah.
have 3 trophies right now, and I think like 15 of the qualifier points. I think you need 20 or 30 to get the invite on Moto. So I got to play some more. GG's, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. We're playing Pioneer right now. We're testing.
Yeah. I'm
During the
playing
cast.
Boggles, and he's playing Greasefang. And
Yep. I've been smashing them.
you do have another part healing in the graveyard, don't you? Yeah, you
I do.
All right.
Yeah.
That'll
I had another way to get them
besides
in. Anyways.
that, a friend of mine at work, or someone I work with that we just became friends, I found out he played Magic. He plays a lot of Arena. I told him about the cast. He followed us on YouTube, and he told me he's been listening to the episodes.
Nice.
I first asked him, I was like, wait, are you listening from the beginning? Because in the beginning it was terrible. Like, it was real bad. And he was like, no, I started with 89 and I'm going through them. And I was like, that's awesome, man. So, like, if you get to this point, man, appreciate the listens, appreciate the follows.
See you in a
Heck
year,
yeah.
bud.
Just work backwards. New followers. New followers.
Don't work
Just work
backwards.
Huh?
No, because it just progressively gets worse and worse.
Yeah,
Then.
and
we'll just
on
let you
top of
down.
that, you get old info. You're just like getting older and older info.
Unless you're looking to call
Just stay
us
up to
out.
date.
Just
Or
listen-
laugh at us for making bad choices.
Yeah, listen to the first podcast where we talk about
Well, who we
Modern
are and what we're
Horizons
about.
2.
Yeah.
Is
Is that what we did in that one? Oh man, we're
We're
tough.
talking about what?
All right, dude.
Modern Horizons 2 spoilers, like what we thought was going to be good.
It is giveaway time.
What? Remember when I was hot on that, like the merfolk?
No, remember when you were like fighting tooth and nail that Grief was going to break Modern?
Grief is still good.
It's
It
good.
still is good.
It's
It's
good,
not
but it
Modern.
did not break Modern.
It was pretty good.
Modern
In Legacy,
is
it's all right.
Hang on, no, the elementals have broken modern.
Correct.
Yeah,
Elementals, but
yes.
not Grief. Because you were talking about that
Whatever
ephemerate
however
Grief
you
decks.
want to put it, like sure. It's still free spells.
Dude, I
are
love
what
that subtlety
take-
came back.
Agreed.
So
Free spells
happy.
are
For what
terrible
it's
for the
worth.
format.
For what it's worth, when I played the subtlety at that, I have it right here. When I played the subtlety at that RCQ that we played at, the two times I did get to play it did feel good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's the answer to the other elementals, is what it is.
It's also the answer to Titan.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Nah, put that
All right,
back
dudes.
up there.
Ready for the random generation and
How many
Five.
people we got this week? bro?
65.
65.
number
Total
5.
That's a little more.
American Pie.
Aw,
You
Alex was
won
so close.
11.
American Pie.
Is what we have last week.
13. Belsifer. This is the guy. He still doesn't reach out for a Zugan. Save me
Keeps
the
entering though.
Save,
Yeah, I get it.
save me the stamp. 25 gets number 13.
Side for you.
There we go.
Hmm.
Number 14, which is 43, was Milani.
That guy's getting a stack of cards waiting for him.
4. Just
He's gonna
4,
win
you
every
won?
week.
Oh, Alex Thompson.
Just get
Got
a
15.
whole deck.
60 gets
Oh, I can't wait to talk
16.
about days.
Oh yeah, dude, we're gonna get in there. 11 gets 17.
Dude,
Ooh, nice.
what the-
We can wait. We gotta wait until this is all done.
52.
Wait till Ali's in here.
Yeah, we got time.
We need a mediator.
Whoops. 18.
Also, I have to talk about what I played and how mad I got.
Generate 51. I like how it went down one.
Dude, all I do is get mad when I play Moto.
Do we get to see these cards? Or
Yeah,
is it
dude.
just-
Well, you won't be able to see them, but I guess I could.
why not?
They're on the stream. I don't know.
Because they're for his camera.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Well, then read them off loud.
I will. Hold on, we're almost there. 9 gets number 20.
Just
All right.
yeah, pick all the winners, then read them out.
Yep,
Yeah.
Just
that's what he
open
did
up-
last week, remember?
Should I-
All right, we
should
got
open
our
up the YouTube?
winners. Okay, so 11
No
through
swing,
20.
huh?
Oops. 11, 12,
I'll just open up
13,
the
14,
YouTube stream.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. How the hell did I do
Crash my
this? Oh,
screen
that
while
must
I
have
do
been.
it.
You forgot 13.
I know, but shoot.
How'd you mess up already?
Yeah, 11, 12. He must have had 13 then. I don't know how I fat fingered that. Yeah, because those are the guys that I remember getting to the numbers right.
He was
so.
probably number 25 is what it was.
Maybe. All right, this is what we got. One, so American Pie, Bill Cipher, Funeral, names Milani, Alex Thompson, Unicorn Star, Bailey Cakes again, Ryan Newman, Robert Suka, and that. And then what we're going to do is reveal the cards that you guys won. So American Pie right away. Let's see what number 11 is.
Give him the goods.
Hedron Crab from Xander.
Oh,
that's a good one,
That's
bro.
pretty good. It's like 8 bonus.
Sorry.
You, sir, have a crab on the way.
Honk, honk.
Welcome to your crabs, produced by Paper
All right.
Player.
Bill Cipher, number 12. You won a full art Bloom Tender from Double Masters.
Nice.
Wow, that's a good one. That's an EDH staple.
That's a nice one. Card rules. All right, let's see what is it. Funarables. I can't read that name. YouTube names are tough. You got number 13, and let's see if you got a. You got a foil. What is this? Lord Xander the Collector. The weird foiling of New Capenna, the alternate art, but not that crazy one where it has the crazy sides on it. Number 14 for Melanie Bear. You won a full art deserted beach.
Desert beach.
It's deserted.
Does that mean it was taken over by desserts?
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
Alex
More cakes and
Thompson,
stuff.
what did you win? You're at 15. You won a full art No Mercy.
Nice.
It's a pretty sick one. Card rule.
What does No Mercy do again?
I don't know. I'm not reading it to you.
Destroy a bunch of
What?
creatures.
Come on.
You,
Whenever a
like,
creature
pick
deals
every-
damage to you, destroy it. So if things attack you, they die. Number
Okay.
16 for Unicorn Star would be a full art foil Teferi who slows the sunset. Remember when this card was predicted to be the bee's knees?
Nope.
All right. Number 17 for Bailey Cakes is an Assassin's Trophy from Guilds of Ravnica.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I like Assassin's Trophy.
Number
a good
18
card.
for Ryan Newman will be Full Art Galaxy Foil Mountain.
Oh, that's sick.
What? Oh my god, I'm mad at you, dude.
Why?
Because he
'Cause I
wanted
want
that.
those for the cube.
Yeah.
You knew that.
My bad.
Too bad.
I have more Galaxy
Should've won.
Foils.
You should have won, bud.
Want them for the cube? I will buy them.
Okay, fine. Robert, I can't. I'm going to say Robert St. Luca is what I'm going to call you. Number 19,
Same.
which is a Den of the Bugbear. From that set. The D&D set. And number 20, which is
You know, that set.
For-
The set.
Archangel Elf. You got a foil retro frame Swiftfoot boots. That is the concept art. Whee! All right, dudes.
Nice.
That's it.
Nice.
JB,
okay.
tell us how you played Magic.
I played angrily. I decided I wanted to try Pox, and as I've said before, I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I've definitely talked with people in real life about it. Whenever I play Magic online, I get very mad. Like, this is the only time I get mad while playing Magic. And it's purely because I'm coming here to win. And that's it. Like, there's no fun with the opponent. There's no, like, back and forth. It's no lighthearted, gameplay. I don't see anybody. I'm just mad. So I was raging because I played Pox. It's not very good. Turns out pretty bad in Legacy. I had fun with it because when it did go, it was pretty funny to just lock people out, but it was not a good deck to do that. But yeah, so I played like 3 leagues with Pox, and I think the best I did was 3-2, so that should tell you how bad it was. Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, no Magic for me, really.
Yeah, I don't think I played any Magic this week at all. Last week, I wanted to, just nah. Things got in the way. I'm looking to buy a new house, so
Fair.
had to be.
You're trying to buy a new house, huh?
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me about that later.
Yeah.
All right.
Right now, land's expensive, so.
Yeah, it is. What are you talking about? You can go buy a duel for like $400.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Duels are on the downside right now. Duels are super cheap right now, which is kind of bad.
Oh, there's a Twitter post I sent to you guys earlier from Josh Lakewai.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about how they've banned mana crypts from game nights.
Yeah, I
Really?
did see that. That's something we should talk about.
Nice. They should just
I
fix it from
Rattle
the
it
game.
off. I just
for what it's worth, none of my EDH decks have a mana crypt in it. I don't personally own a mana crypt. When I play with you guys and I'm playing all proxies, I play a mana crypt because I know you guys are going to do it.
hell yeah.
So, but
I mean, I definitely don't.
I
own a
don't
mana
play
crypt.
that card. I don't justify having a $200, EDH mana rock.
Sure.
It's like, I don't know. I like this game, but I can't justify a $200 mana rock for EDH. But I don't like that card. I won't play, or I won't play it in any of my personal decks. When I'm playing like a fight night with you guys, and the purpose is to like beat each other up, yeah, I'm gonna play it. But I won't play it in any of my EDH decks.
Wow.
That's fair.
I don't really care. Like,
It's
You
just
know,
too much. I don't
there's
know.
so many things wrong with EDH at this point. Like, yes,
You
mana
think?
crypt.
You really think so?
I went through it.
Yes, there's so
through
many
it.
cards that should not exist. First of all, like Thoracle combo should not be a thing.
Why?
Like,
Well, whatever. There's like 100 of those now.
It's
There's a million.
agreed.
EDH is beyond saving,
but it's the
I like-
easiest.
I went
And
through
it's
it.
cheap.
Like I played competitively EDH, and like I watched as like I had the best deck, and I would beat up on my friends or whatever, and like
Womp.
and like
Never happened.
and like it's kind of like it's not it's not
No,
it's
not
not
possible.
100% the truth. It's not like I won every single game, right? It's not like but it's like it takes a wear on your play group, and like it takes away from the experience, and like then you like I don't know. I guess I kind of matured out of like having to like win an EDH game,
Sure.
especially nowadays when I only get to play EDH with Jeff and Antonio and you guys once in a while. I want to like I want to sit down and play Worms.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'm gonna say right now.
That's gonna make me smile. I don't want to like beat up and if like beating up on your friends and like casting Mana Crypt and winning on turn 1 is gonna make you smile, like all the more power to you. But
That has
not
changed my
me as a
opinion on
person.
EDH. Is give me crappy theme decks and I will play every time.
Yeah, it's
Right.
I
it's,
just want to play bad decks.
it's way more fun.
Exactly.
It is. I think it's the
Way.
I
That's
think
why,
that
like,
was like
when
the
we-
spirit. That was the spirit of what I liked about EDH when it originally was around. Like when people played it between rounds, it was just like, here's my pile of garbage that like kind of has a little bit of synergy, but it's garbage.
yeah, dude.
That's why I like doing the pre-cons, because like
Yeah, that's my
they-
favorite.
don't
Equal
get me
power
wrong, the
level,
pre-con-
theoretically.
Yeah, and it's random. Like, yes, we've looked through the deck list, but we've never played with the deck before. We didn't build it, so like learning those like fun interactions, and like they are getting better and better each year they come out, but they're still nowhere near like CEDH level.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
I won't play Mana Crypt, and I don't I play Soul Ring. I guess like
Well, everybody's got a soul ring. Not
Yeah.
everybody's got a mana crypt.
everyone's got a Soul Ring.
If you
The
didn't have a
difference
soul
between
ring, I
Mana
would
Crypt
buy
and
it.
Soul Ring, I understand why you could say like it doesn't really matter. They're
Oh.
the same thing. They're
But
extreme
they're
ramp.
not.
But
There's
one
no
person
saving
one
EDH.
person cannot buy a Mana Crypt. Everyone
Right.
can get a Soul Ring.
Well, yeah, that's the point. That's why it's
like,
it's
glad
accepted.
I'm glad it's abundant, but like it's not to say Soul Ring's not a problem either.
Oh, yeah.
I like
I pitched like
but-
10. Go ahead.
it's like I don't think there's no solution to EDH other than just let people complain about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
And like it's build your own community, just like we were saying with like 60 card formats and all that other stuff. Build your own community, and then like what you want will thrive.
Yeah, man, that's really what it is. There is a population out there that loves CEDH. I cannot connect with that because I just losing like the people that are top 8ing these events, or sorry, top 4 are like the records are 2, 4, and 1, and just like what? Yeah, so you have to be okay with losing quite frequently, and it really is like. As much strategy as you want to put into CDH, it's still a 4-player game, so it is chaotic in the sense of the decisions that you make that are the absolute best play may have 0 impact. The same could be true about like heads-up Magic, but the reality is like you outplay your opponent, you get to have the chance to beat them by just like from a skill factor. CDH, that's not a thing. There's just I cannot agree with you that there's any skill involved. Other than like, oh, here's the opportunity for me to go off. It's like, I guess.
It comes down to seat position is really what it is.
Well, and where you are on the stack. Like, being the last one to decide if something resolves in, like the fight is the best seat.
Well, it is and it isn't. Because then everybody goes like, well, I passed my priority.
Everything.
It's like, I'm going to lay it to you, and if you don't let this, it's like, it's kind of like this game of chicken. It's like, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to be the first one to pull the trigger. You go. And then it's like, well, I've already passed priority, so I don't get the opportunity anymore.
The game of chicken in CEDH is so... Oh, I hate it.
That's why I like all the random things. Like, I have the bird stack. I actually put more work into that. I like it. Well, dude, actually, after our last fight night, Josh, I put in Narset and blue wheels. So I get ready.
I've kept every single one of our decks that we built together.
Yeah.
Like, I just have them off to the side, and I take them to EDH nights, and like I get stomped all the time, but like I'm there to like drink and hang out and play trashy cards.
Exactly, that's the whole point of it.
And no one ever looks at me at the table, and then someone combos off, and they're like, "Oh, god damn it, we should have stopped that guy."
We need to have an anime themed one where we pick an anime, and then you make a deck all based.
I already have it, dude. I got those cards for us. Remember?
I call it Inuyasha.
Right.
I'm gonna go back to what I was saying originally, or what I've said before, where an end comment on the Mana Crypt issue. If you want to pimp and make your EDH deck flex, if you have the need to want to flex on your opponent, buy a revised dual land and not a Mana Crypt.
Yeah, nobody cares about the Underground Sea.
No one's going to beat you up for having a revised dual land in your deck. People are going to smile when they see a revised dual land hit the table. And people are going to throw their nose up when they see a Mana Crypt.
Well, it's because it just enables you to play your cards better, whereas Mana Crypt is like, I'm here to win. I want to beat your buns in.
Yeah. So there's like you can still flex your EDH deck, and you don't have to get fast mana. I do it.
Yeah. Look, this isn't to crap on the CDH community. It's just it's its own thing, and the unfortunate part of what that is, it's bled into EDH. Where every time you sit down, you basically have to get your deck inspected by a power level chat. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to do this at all.
Power level chat.
Oh, what's the strength?
Oh, it's so terrible. That's why I don't play EDH when I go. Like, when we went to Vegas, there's plenty of people playing EDH, and I wanted to play with, like, the MTG Goldfish crew, but, like, they had a long line, and I didn't want to wait. But I brought an EDH deck, and I think the only person, like, I talked about playing was, like, me, Antonio, and our friend Joe. We were going to play in the hotel. But we didn't even do that because I was like, I don't want someone to come up to me and, what do you think your power level is?
You guys are talking about going in September, and I want to go, and I'm not going to play any Magic. I'm just
that's fine.
Well, like I'm just going to have. I'm still gonna go.
We're like limited, as of right now, it's like I think we have like 6 or 7 people going.
Hell yeah, dude.
Only like 3 of us are Magic players, but we got like a big group. Like I asked my roommate, my girlfriend, and like our friends that live downstairs. I was like, we should just take a trip to Vegas.
That is what's up, dude.
Book a couple rooms next to each other and have fun. Because, like, the Magic aspect will be, like, 10, 11 in the morning until, like, 5 or 6 when they close the hall. And then that's so much time to, like, walk around Vegas.
Bring up that list that you just had on
again. So when we're talking about the EDH and on the subject of that, MagicCon Minneapolis made some big changes.
That first line is very, very, very that is the most beneficial change they've made.
Yeah, of course. I mean, how tired are they
to have that before?
Yeah, it's a casual thing. Why have it be like the badges were already expensive as it is? But anyways, so the big change that they've heard from the community, and I think Blake went over it on the stream this Tuesday, was the command zone is for everybody. So as long as you purchase a bat at any level, you have access to command zone, which is basically, I think they're tired of seeing Twitter having the photos of it just being like 500 empty tables and like 4 groups. So they're like, okay, this is embarrassing because everybody's still playing Commander. They're just not in the zone that we want them to be at. They're somewhere else. And like, if they're not in the convention center, like it's upsetting to them because obviously whatever. But also they made the badge structure a little bit cheaper. There is a single day pass that comes with no swag. That's $30. So just to get in the door for 1 day is $30. Yep. And then there's the weekend pass, which is $65 with no swag. You'd still get the arcane signet. And then they have the other, you know, if you want to buy those ones, but like, I think they're gonna, with the single day pass and the weekend pass, they're going to get a lot more people to show up. Like,
oh hell yeah!
See, that sells me. I want to go up.
Yeah.
Well, 65 for the whole weekend is what they were charging before for like 1 day.
Yeah, they just fixed the structure.
Where is it? Or when is it?
It's
April.
September.
Yep. It's after the next set comes out.
The 24th and 25th, I do believe.
Yeah.
Oh no,
April,
never mind. This is no. I'm thinking of Vegas. This is Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, yeah, it's the next Pro Tour wherever that's gonna be at, and I think that's in April.
Yeah.
So,
me and Antonio were talking about going to this.
It's cheap, dude. Like,
it's like a 6-hour drive.
Yeah, I got family out there. I might just stay with them and just go there for a single day, and then go on. You know. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
I can go to Minneapolis.
Nah, this is dope. But yeah, good change on them. This is one of the few things that, you know, the community was like pushing against them. They're like, come on, let's go.
It's May. It's in May. May 5th, May 7th.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo.
A lot of them. All right,
Yes,
guys.
I don't work in a Mexican restaurant anymore.
And they have this sweet secret layer from
What
Minneapolis.
is this?
Have you not seen this?
Dude, we've been posting this in the chat. How have you not seen
Dude, no, the last 2 days I like had to go. I was like went on a tour to the Sheboygan site at work, and it, like everything's class 1 div 1, so I couldn't be on my phone all day. And today I had to like put together a presentation, and I had like, which I should have did yesterday, but I went on the field trip, so like I had to like cram 3 hours to of like 3 months of stuff to put together a presentation that I presented for an hour today.
Yeah.
So like I like have not been on my phone at all for the last 48 hours.
Dude,
So-
these look amazing.
Yeah, these are the band posters.
Dude,
Phage the
the Phage-
Untouchable.
None of these are uncommon, but these are still cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry, these are still cool as heck.
The Sen triplets is. It's funny they put that in there.
Well, you got Phage the
Sen
Untouchable, Sen triplets. You got Isan and Alesha or Alea.
No, Alila.
Alila, yeah, that one's
I was
pretty
about to say
sweet.
that is not Alicia.
Yeah, sorry, can't read it. But these look
these are
amazing.
sick.
Come on, man. These just,
These are sick.
yeah, these are awesome. Just the
They-
Phage
they-
looks
why
so
do they-
good.
They look like old
I
horror
promote
posters.
the triplets.
Well, they're trying to sell them as what's called like band posters, like you would see like hanging up somewhere.
And this is the one you get from going to Command Fest Minneapolis, right? Like you can
It's
buy
the secret
it.
layer that you can exclusively buy there.
Dude, the Vegas one was so terrible. This is infinitely better.
What was the Vegas one was that
No,
stupid
for what
little
it's worth,
geary.
Phage
It
the
had last
Untouchables-
chance.
Phage is almost unplayable. Send
No, it's
triplets
not.
is a card that I don't understand why they like keep printing it, because like no one likes this card.
No, that's the downside. Everybody, this is gonna be. Yeah.
No one likes this card. No.
Well,
one.
at least 2 of them are
If
hits.
you like-
Isan's a
and
great
if
one.
you like this card, you have no friends. I'm sorry. Whatever. I said what I said.
Yeah.
What about
Uh,
the Grand Arbiter? Do you hate that guy?
That one's fine.
Anything
I hate
Grand
the
Arbiter?
one where
Is
it
that
makes everything cost 1 more. and
Yeah,
yours
anything
costs
that
1
ain't
less.
yours and all my stuff
That's not,
costs one.
that's nowhere near as bad as Send Triplets. Send Triplets is like the worst Magic card. It's up there.
It's usually when you sit down at the table, everybody's like, "All right, we're gonna kill him because nobody wants their spells."
You're like, yeah. Send Triplets is one of the ones I'll stand.
I call it's like
Send
doors
Triplets
open
is
at 8
so
p.m. That's the only time you should be allowed to play this is at 8 p.m. Other than that, you're not allowed to play this. All right,
good. It's funny.
all right, guys.
You sounds good.
All right,
Yeah.
Ollie's on his way in. So from a news standpoint,
here.
he should be,
Over here.
yeah, he should have the
This
ability
is
to
the
jump in.
big news
It's
for
funny.
us.
I just found a second White Plume adventure yesterday.
I have 3
I love
sitting
when-
behind me.
I'm
I
glad
love when
didn't
you
spend
made
any
this
money on those
post.
expressive iterations.
When you made this post, like half of the comments were like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
No,
For what it's
stop.
worth, I don't.
That's
really
all I
care
care
either,
about.
Yeah.
Ollie, Ollie, oxen free.
Ole,
Oh,
Ollie, what's up, man?
Always got
Not
the
bad.
gam.
one of the Gaddock tiers, the Teleria Midwest, as you would on Twitter, and this is the guy I look to for legacy knowledge because he's smarter than the rest of the cast, excluding me.
Thanks, bud.
I don't know if it's so much being smarter as much as it is hyper fixating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Turns out if you make it that you only pay attention to one format and have a really small Twitter follow circle, then you're fine. You can just be an expert.
Yeah, that's the best. But
Right. That's how it is with anything.
so on Monday we got beautiful news of Expressive Iteration and White Plum or Plume Adventurer being banned. Two big knocks are probably the top dogs of the format by a lot.
I mean, what were they? A combined 36% of the meta?
Yeah.
And no one was upset. Literally, no one was upset.
Some people were.
Well, if you were upset, then you were part of the problem.
I think the only people that were actually upset about this were people who just every single time something is banned out of Delver, they decide to start complaining about days for a little bit.
Hi, hello. This is me.
There are several
No
people
way.
who are on this podcast who, regardless of whether or not anything has been banned, they decide to complain about days for a while. But you know that's okay. In general, everybody is really, really for this banning. This was kind of an expected thing. People were kind of unsure of how long it would take for the initiative deck to be kind of dealt with. It was pretty clear that there were some toxic play patterns with that were happening as a result of it.
Yep.
And I think the community in general, I mean, there have been many of us who've been talking about really wanting EI to get the axe for a while. But I'll be totally honest, I was about to send off EIs to get signed because I was expecting it to still be in the format for a couple of years before it finally got potentially looked at.
Fair.
But I think there's kind of two different numbers of how much of the metagame it was taking up. Wizards came out with their own data saying roughly about 30%. And I believe Joe Dyer's information is like, hold on, I can pull it up right now. I want to say that according to the challenge datas in 2023 that they were pulling, 19.5% of the online metagame was Delver and 17.5% was White Stompy. So like just shy of 40% of the challenge metagame.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Needless to say, pretty insane, especially when you get at both of them. Despite being the #1 dogs in the format, so what everyone was targeting, they were both rocking like a 51.8 and a 51.6 win percentage despite this.
Yep.
And that's of non-mirror matchup data. Of course.
Yeah.
But regardless, pretty insane regardless.
So-
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say with these two decks, the weirdest part is so like for example, if you wanted to go with a Doomsday list, well, Doomsday gets beat up pretty bad by Murktide, right? Doomsday would probably be okay against like White Plume, and then any of the other like decks that would be somewhat good against like Murktide decks or Expressive Iteration decks just got completely hosed by like this initiative deck just because you're playing fair magic, you're gonna get bodied by the initiative, you're never getting it back.
So
Yeah.
it's really funny because I was complaining about playing my Pox deck, right? My mono black Pox. When I played against mono white, I stomped them because all it was like sack creatures and play Mutavaults or whatever to attack in and take back initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two decks, they kind of had a pincer effect on the metagame. There was a good number of decks that were able to beat one, but then were unfavored against the other. So, like, Bant and 4 color piles were able to really crush Delver. Same with Green White Depths, and ironically enough, Legacy Hammer Time.
Yep.
But they all were really preyed upon by Initiative. Like, Initiative had like a 75% win matchup against Green White Depths, which was just it was virtually unplayable in this format.
Yep.
And then there was the opposite side, where like 8 cast, good against Initiative if favored, but then gets absolutely crushed by Delver.
Yep.
Same with like, Madness. Same with like, ironically enough, the Dark Ritual Buried Alive Phoenix decks also were favored against Initiative.
Yep.
But it's just was this pincer effect on the format. I don't know if I'm like fully I don't know if we're going to be in a better metagame as a result of it. I am happy that there's some action. Go figure, anything that gets the community excited and gets more people signing up for like weekly events on my the Legacy Discord I run events for. I'm for, right? Any shakeup, all of a sudden means group decks. We get to change things around. Like we have a couple of players who are like coming out of nowhere to all of a sudden be playing Nick Fit again, right? Just because this random banning that had nothing to do with them whatsoever. They go, oh, maybe I can play Legacy again. So
I was about to say
I'm always for.
It's people who are like, I want to try something wonky. Let me bring back this crazy garbage that I used to play a long time ago.
It's Ingenuity Hour, man. This is the time to play Legacy. It's fun right now. You can play whatever you want.
So, the 4 things I want to kind of ask today with this Legacy ban is, what will replace those cards? What will be the top dog? What do you think, or the prediction, what will be the next metagame, like, forefront? what decks actually come back to life, and then the last question of, do we need to ban more? So we'll just go right into with those cards being banned, kind of what's going to replace those cards, and I compiled like a short list and try to make it as small as possible as I could. But Predict's the big one. Everybody went to that one immediately. More Mishra's Baubles for Delver, Preordain. You have, and then this Spell Dancer, which is kind of a hot new card, and then Minor Misstep. Those are like the 5 cards that I think people are looking at.
So, in terms of Delver, we should talk first probably about what EI did in the deck.
Sure.
Historically, Delver, when being played against fair decks, right? Delver was this tempo deck when we were like back in the Rug Delver with Nimble Mongoose days, and up until kind of the present day, where it was a tempo deck that's trying to get to the board early and deploy its pressure while countering dazing key spells, but was running out of cards, right? When you were on the control deck side or played some of the fair decks against it, what you were trying to do was just kind of like outlast the storm and then have your card advantage take over, be able to stabilize and win the game.
Right.
The thing that made
like
EI so insane.
Deck.
Yeah.
It's like a tap out deck.
Yeah.
Kinda. The thing that was so nuts about EI and Dreadhorde Arcanist before it was that it kind of fundamentally changed that dynamic and made it so Delver just never ran out of cards. And all of a sudden, you're playing a control deck that is trying to go into a long game with Delver, but Delver is casting EI, is getting 2 of the cards that are the best cards out of the top 3, one of them being a fetch land. That fetch land then gets the 1 Mystic Sanctuary that they have in the deck to go and put EI back on top. They get another 2 for 1 when they cast it again. Then eventually they cast a Daze, pick up the Mystic Sanctuary, and then it made it so Delver just never ran out of cardboard, and you couldn't play this game plan of starving them, right?
Right.
I'm gonna take a couple of hits, then I'm gonna cast my swords underneath the Daze with the extra mana up, and I'll be able to stabilize, right?
Yep.
It made it so you were unable to play that game plan, and it also just made it so Delver could play the control role in certain matchups.
Yep.
That said, I don't think there's any cards that are really gonna serve this same role as expressive iteration in this way. As you were talking about, a lot of people talked about Predict being this insane card of, it with Dragon Rage Chandler is basically an EI.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? It is cool to draw 2 cards for sure with Dragon Rage Chandler. The only thing is you need the DRC in play, which is already a card that people are really heavily incentivizing removing immediately.
Yes.
So here's my thing. With EI, you had the option of the top 3. With Predict, you have to throw away whatever's on top in order to get your bonus 2 cards. So even if you're doing things like Mishra's Bauble to look, or Brainstorm to fix, or Ponder to fix, and then chucking that top card, sometimes you're going to run into those situations where you don't want to get rid of that top card, but you have to. Well,
in order to draw. With Bauble, I believe you can name your opponent's cards with Predict, so you can it's choose a player, I believe, or it's target. No, either way, look at target player's top library, and if you guess it right, so you can Mishra Bauble your opponent and get rid of their top card just to draw. Yes.
So
that comes up less often unless you're like playing against Doomsday and their personal tutoring at Doomsday on top, which is insane if you get that blowout. Like that is an upside on the card for sure. It has happened many a times and will happen again.
So, I guess
not on the Predict plan.
Of like the 5 cards I listed. So if we look at like what Legacy is in the scope of like its deck like building or deck strength, right? Every card in Legacy is either near like, we'll call it like a 10 out of 10 from a power level standpoint, and then like there's things like 9 and 8s, right? Anything that kind of falls between like 7, it becomes Mimi, and then anything that's got like a power level like 6 or under, it's like real bad. And I think it's like, what do these cards here present from a power level standpoint? Because EI is obviously like a 9.5 or a 10 because it was the best card to draw in every top deck war ever. And then where does like these cards match up? And if none of those cards that are like the replacement to EI are those, why not just go into a different color and then get that strength, you know?
I'm on the just switch the deck. Go play more of the tempo game. Go back to countering spells. Play the minor S step. That's what I would do.
Right. So
Josh, let's be honest. You're gonna be playing Stifle.
Yeah.
I do want to. I would play. I think I would do a 3-3 split.
So here's my problem with Minor Misstep and Stifle. I tried it out. I think I talked to Ollie about this at the FNM where I was playing it, and it just felt bad. I felt like I wanted to be playing a turn 1 guy every time, and Stifle was sitting there going, "You can't do that because you want to be stifling this turn. You want to be waiting."
Stifle's a bad card. It has always been a bad card. It always comes out of these shells. Every single time we have a format shift, like let's say when Dreadhorde Arcanist got banned, people started playing Stifle again and it fell off again because the amount of times that it just doesn't have a target and it's bad. Sure, you can brainstorm it away. Sure, it feels really, really good when you hit the fetch land, but you just need your cards to be able to consistently do things, and that's something that Stifle can't do very often.
Right.
It's very meta dependent. If your meta is a lot of fetch lands and like your fetch land wasteland game is really hot, then it's a good card.
So
but, like,
Stifle's norm has to be that. Like I can't imagine that your meta is not wasteland or fetch land dependent. But where Stifle gets its bonuses, let's say if tomorrow you play Legacy and this might be a bad example, but like Stone Forges and Solitudes are all over the place. Well, you could stop those ETBs. You know, those are relevant. You know, make a nice 1/2 or Solitude. Yeah, you just 2-for-1 yourself, and I'll stifle the
best
ETB
thing
trigger.
I've ever done was stifle a cast trigger on a Ulamog.
Yeah,
That's some high
That was
value.
the best thing. That was the best thing I've ever done.
There are things that you can get with Stifle in almost every matchup. The thing is, it's all about how it actually lines up, right? Like,
Right.
you draw the Stifle the turn right before that they cast the Ulamog, sure, that's fantastic. The issue is when you draw Stifle and there's no targets for it, and you start to lose your control of the board and you lose your tempo.
Yep.
And that's the biggest problem for me is like I said, every time I'm playing, I'd much rather be playing a turn 1 Delver or a turn 1 Dragon Rage every time.
Yeah.
No matter what. And like,
Agreed.
sure, sometimes the daze comes in handy, or not daze, the Stifle comes in handy next turn, but like, you know, your tempoing with Stifle is not as good because you're not getting them on turn 1, keeping them from doing a turn 1 play.
Mhm.
Sure.
It's definitely not good in 2023 Magic, but it's
Personally.
definitely-
Go ahead.
What were we gonna say? Personally, go for it.
I was just going to
don't
say,
know.
personally, right now, Delver is playing 2 Mishra's Bauble, right? I would bump that to 3, and I would play 3 Predict just to try it out, because I think that gets you your draw advantage, and that gets you one more way to fix the top deck, or use it to check your opponent's top so you can predict on them.
4/2's got to be the better split.
I would probably bump to 4 Bobble and play 2 Minor Misstep.
Yeah.
You mean,
The only reason I say Bauble is because you did lose a sorcerer out of your deck, so now your DRCs are harder to activate.
Yeah, that's why
okay.
I said 4 Bobble.
that's fair.
I mean, we'll see ultimately what happens with this. There's going to be a lot of brewing that happens, and a lot of people just kind of throwing Delver in various iterations against
I
the
bet
wall until something
some
sticks.
prowess deck shows up. It's
Well, what's very likely going to happen is in the very beginning, we're going to be going to very, very tempo-oriented Delver again, going really, really low to the ground. No more Mystic Sanctuary at all. Even if there's 4 predicts, like we're not going to be having that same Mystic Sanctuary loop going on.
Right.
It's just not going to happen as consistently, and you're not going to be playing the mid-game and control-y type game plans as often. It's very likely Minor Misstep comes in on a couple of spots. It's going to be a little bit better in the format now that you're kind of moving away from the stompy decks that are now leaving in the form of White Initiative.
Yeah.
The truth is everyone was kind of saying, oh, it's so great to Minor Misstep a Chrome Mox out of Mono White Initiative, but that happens so infrequently.
Yeah.
It was great when it happened, but a lot of times it just didn't, and it's this dead card in hand. Minor Misstep's probably going to be in a great spot
Wasn't
for a
Spell
while,
Piercing
and then
the
we
same
might
thing
see
too?
the Delver Mirror kind of one-up each other. We were just before this, we were going through this Delver phase where people were playing Snuff Out. This format, like with the rise of Delver and the rise of
Eviction
Mono White
Initiative,
Initiative,
yeah.
all of a sudden, Snuff Out equity was just going through the roof. Foil Snuff Outs from whatever set that was just absolutely skyrocketed even more than what they were at, because all of a sudden Delver decks were like,
Dude, every deck was like splashing. So like a Delver deck would splash an Underground Sea, and then you'd fetch the Underground Sea, and then and stuff out the initiative creature. That way they couldn't stop you or whatever. Maybe it was a lot of tech. I mean, Snuff Out was when I played it last FNM in my Lurin deck. It was just hot. It was awesome. Like I was like, man.
Free spells are great. But
Yeah.
the thing is,
Submerge do the same thing, or no? They need
no,
a 4
because it doesn't
for
hit
Submerge.
Murktides.
It does.
Like
Yeah.
the thing that's so great about Snuff
They
Out
need
is
to.
it was great in the mirror because it is this card that's really hard to daze or it's hard to interact with. That's completely free. All that you need to do is get one of your 2 UCs in play. It just completely trades with Murktide, and then it's also decent against Mono White because you don't have to worry about it being hit by Chalice, and you're able to be deploying to board while removing their threat.
Yep.
And in that, this is just an illustration though of the way that kind of Delver ends up adjusting for itself a lot of the times in these formats.
Mhm.
And so it'll
That's
very
the
likely
old
start really
John.
low with like these minor missteps, and will start to turn a little bit more mid-rangey with some of these lot more value-oriented cards like Predict, like potentially Mercurial Spelldancer, and will start to get a little bit bigger because it's the classic mid-range matchup thing, right? Where you want to be the slightly bigger mid-range deck.
Yeah.
Well, in the Delver matchup, you want to be the slightly more mid-rangey Delver deck. Maybe we'll see Mystic Sanctuary come back. I think that's really unlikely. But at first, we're going to be really low to the ground, and then we can start to consider putting in these other colors.
Yeah.
Before we
What
get
about-
off Expressive Iteration, I'm sorry, Josh, go ahead.
What about like a build with like more ledger shredders and more like 1 mana spells like Consider to try and
I think
hit
it's
the
considered just such a bad card unless you're like specifically putting it in a Doomsday pile.
Yeah.
right.
You could do the there are these bad control like blue-white versions. I forget the name of the content creator who's really been on this like 3 Mystic Sanctuary Thwart Legacy deck. But like that deck because it's just dedicated miracles, and like I just want instant speed draw cards. Like I guess Consider's okay there, but Op's probably better, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Ledger Shredder is an illustration of the deck getting a little bit more mid-rangey and not being as tempo oriented, right? And
Yeah.
so like that is something that we might see in the future. But that's very likely going to be a response of Delver adjusting to itself, because spoiler alert, Delver's the best deck. Still, it's going to be the best deck, and you know what? That's okay. Like that's just the way that it goes. Every time that we ever have one of these bannings, everyone's like, "Oh, Delver's still the best deck." It's kind of like, well, no, duh. Like that's like talk about the easy layup on that one. Like nobody was contesting that. It's just that now we can start to play these decks that are able to beat it. Like I can bring back green white depths and not have to worry about my 25% win rate against Monoway Initiative for the other 15% of the format.
So,
but before we go off EI, real quick, we should also mention it's not just a Delver card; it also is the best control card advantage card in the format.
Yep. Grixis decks were like rocking it, and then obviously the blue-white decks were splashing it, like just because go get a Vulcan, here we go.
Yeah, and like four color control, like with Minsk and Booze, it's just Bant splashing red for Expressive Iteration and Pyroblast and Minsk and Boo, but really is primarily for like the Blast and EIs.
Yep.
Like there was no way to compete with the EI card advantage engine. The running joke with this banning is that Standstill is unbanned for all of like the blue-white Standstill players, because it's like, oh wait, I'm no longer competing against Expressive Iteration. Now I can like be trying to set up for Standstill.
I want to go back to Standstill. You have no idea.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with control. It's really interesting to see. Maybe Bant just becomes the way to go forward. Maybe we're going back to Jeskai, but it's a little bit more open-ended in terms of what you are doing for your card advantage engine. Because again, like you couldn't beat EI with any other card advantage plan when you're going up against Delver, so you just needed to do it yourself. At this at our last Milwaukee Legacy FNM, I was trying to play like this Esper Attractions control deck against against Jeff playing Expressive Iteration, and it just felt miserable, right? It's like, oh, my Baleful Strix is a really good card normally in the Delver matchup, but not when it goes EI into Mystic Sanctuary, into Days picking up Mystic Sanctuary. And it's just like we can't compete.
Yeah, you're too far behind.
Yeah.
So my other question is, Blue Red used to be 2 to 3 volcanics. Does this bring it down because you have less density of red cards?
No, well, the reason that you went up on like so in these last iterations of Delver, you're like playing 4 volcanic islands and some amount of steam vents, right? Because it's not so much actually like the EIs that made you do that, or like that was your reason to not play
DRC
basic.
and Days.
It's DRC. Yeah, you just wanted your really consistent turn 1 red spell with Days backup.
Yep.
That's the real reason for it. So that will probably remain stock with 1 to 2 steam vents until we start to go and add other colors like. Oh, I really pray Charmagoyf somehow comes back. It's not good.
It's such a nombo with Murktide.
That would be when all of a sudden we lose the steam vents. Is when we start putting in like Trops or UCs, and we're starting to splash other colors.
So see what happens when Battle comes out in like what 30 days.
Yeah. So making Goyf a 9/10, I don't think is going to be the difference maker. But
well, it's more so what Battle does.
Were you playing? Here's my question: When you're playing Charmagoyf, are you playing what's the bad Tribal Shock? Are you playing that over Lightning Bolt?
Tarfire and Seal Flame.
I played Tarfire. I did.
Oh,
you knew that.
You're a masochist.
One of Tarfire.
I've got I've got 5-0 lists on MTGO with Tarfire.
All right, man. It's your life.
I'm sure you do.
It's
your life.
MTG top 8. But what was I gonna get at? I also, in my time playing Rug Delver, I liked Hooting Mandrills more than I liked Tarmogoyf towards the end.
Mandrels, get out of
Well,
here.
your delve target is just
Careful.
there's no better delve card now,
Careful.
and you can't be feeding Hooting Mandrills while Murktide exists unless you're mono green delve, and more power to you.
No way. I did it. Hang on. There was two different. I was playing Hooting Mandrills and the Whale,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's possible.
those
But it was
cards
like a
suck
3 and
compared
2.
to
But you weren't
Murktide.
running 4 and 4. Like you are running 4 Merc.
Yeah, it was like 3 and 2.
Yeah.
So back when when Arkham's Astrolabe got banned, it was the same banning as Oko
was
and
that-
Dreadhorde Arcanist,
that
which
was,
I've
like,
been talking
around the
about that
deck.
banning.
Yeah, that
But-
was the deck.
Yeah, so when that banning happened, all of a sudden a lot more people started playing, what's it called? Abundant Growth. The 1 mana red
Yeah.
cantrip enchantment that makes it so
Green.
land taps or any color. So like, oh, it's a green Arkham's Astrolabe. And then people also started to try playing Prophetic Prism because, it's just the exact same thing, but it costs 2 mana. And the truth is, every single time that one of these bannings happen, there's like a ton of cards that you can be like, oh, this is like almost like Arkham's Astrolabe, or predict with
Oh,
DRC. That's like almost EI. And
Yeah.
people will play
Right.
with it,
It's
and
not.
it's not going to stick against the wall, and it'll be gone within a couple of months. But that's
Right.
okay. I would imagine the beautiful what's the name of the whale? I can't imagine that is
Ethereal
an
Forger.
example of a card that the
Ethereal
Forger.
Forager.
I
yeah,
can't imagine
whatever.
that's the card. Tarmogoyf will not come in like a team or Delver deck. We're
No,
probably
but
not going to be playing 4 predicts. Like
Right. None of
I
these
don't know.
cards are coming back.
We'll see.
Says you,
Um,
I'm bringing 4 predicts this Friday. You better be ready.
I will
Who
not
wants
play
to-
Doomsday then. Sounds good. I appreciate the heads up on that.
Smart.
Who wants to talk about the initiative deck? I have no
Yeah, we
idea what
should
any
do
of
that.
these cards do.
The only note to EI that we should just say the one victim to this is Grixis Control, which is about to just fall off the face of the earth.
Well, hold on.
Just- Esper will likely be the way like if you want to be going, it'll be Esper or Bant going forward unless you're going into
Well-
like 4-color, 5-color madness. But like the good old Hitotsugu controls all mainboard Fury version of Grixis Control, which to be fair had already kind of fallen off, but
Yeah.
that's going to be gone for quite some time.
I think the biggest thing with EA going away is Snapcasters Rejoice. You can start playing that card confidently now. You really can. Like before, it was
So
like, what do you? Why play a Snapcaster when you can just jam an EI? What are you doing?
All right.
It's fun.
I hate Delver. Let's talk about initiative. 3 mana initiative is way too easy to pull off, which is why it was very good.
Yeah.
Because you could consistently get turn 1 3 mana initiative guy out. Without that, I'm not afraid of this deck anymore. I'm just not.
I mean, isn't turn 2 like still pretty good?
No,
Not
worlds
the-
apart.
at all.
So here's the biggest thing about White Plume Adventure, right? With it being the only 3-drop initiative creature in the that's ever existed, right?
Yeah.
There are many hands when you're playing this like Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal, Ancient Tomb, City of Traders deck, where there are many hands where you want that first trigger of the initiative to go and get a basic land.
Mm-hmm.
That is so clutch and very often makes it that you're actually able to play your like Seasoned Dungeoneer on turn 2 or on turn 3.
Yep.
And so losing the 3-drop is a huge detriment.
Yep.
The nutso thing about initiative, of course, was just like its modality, where initiative in its best form, you're going up against like Bant Control, which that deck played on Delver, but lost hard to White Initiative, where
Yep.
you just play a single initiative guy. You get to go through the right side of the dungeon, and you're scrying, you're making a treasure, you're making a 4/1, you're drawing a card, and you're then getting to loop back in, find another initiative guy that comes in with extra counters, and just continue the cycle.
Yep.
But then it also had the modality of, I'm going to play this on turn 1 against Doomsday, and on turn 3, I'll have dealt 15 damage with it, right? By just going out the
That's
left side
nuts.
of my 3/3 becomes a 5/5. It swings 5 with the trap, and
Yep.
like the modality of it was kind of the nutso things. And what the modality was specifically great because it was able to come down so early before your opponent was really able to set up any defenses.
Yep.
And now us only having all the varied 4-drops, whether it's Seasoned Dungeoneer, which is still a nuts card, it
Yep.
really is, or KAs of Chaos Adventurer, or Undermountain Adventurer, it's just not going to be as powerful.
This is my other thing I want to say about it is mono white will no longer exist, which means Swords to Plowshare and what's it called? Being their way to
Solitude.
clear the Solitude being their basically free ways to clear the board to make sure that they could hold initiative are gone. So now you have the opportunity to actually play creatures, have them stick, and come in.
I
Yeah.
think I think there actually is potential for Mono White Stompy to continue as a deck. I don't think that it is going to continue forward as an initiative deck, though. Where I think that once the floodgates are opened, if everyone kind of realizes how good all these various white 3-drops are, a lot of these decks had already taken out Archon of Emeria, the 2/3 flyer that makes it's a rule of law and lands come into play tapped.
Yep, very annoying.
But I think that people have realized that there is some ability to do this going forward. What's really likely is people start to just play Red Stompy. Tony's bringing it up on the board right now with K's of Chaos Adventurer. And so what's likely going to happen is there's no longer an initiative deck. Like, is just we are initiative tribal, but instead is going to be these Stompy decks with initiative cards in it.
Yep.
Whether it's mono black Helm that is playing the black 4-drop.
Yep.
In like it's with alongside its Shield Rids and its Helm combo, and just using it as this mid-range Stompy card. Mono red will have Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Painter will very likely be able to play it as well.
Yep.
And then White Stompy might continue as a thing, though, right? It's not going to be a huge part of the metagame, but there's still enough good 3-drops and 4-drops in white that with the Stompy Soul Lands, you're able to have that game plan be relatively successful.
Right.
That's why I don't have a problem with these decks, is because it's a side plan. It's not the main plan.
Well,
where it's the adventure decks were purely there to just take initiative and keep it. These decks have other options, like I'm going to play Blood Moon on turn 1 like a regular red Stompy. And that's fine. I'm fine with that.
So the Chaos Adventure is actually good. The other two red initiative cards, Blood Boil Sorcerer and Stirring Bar, are just heinously bad, and you're playing it just for the initiative. And there's going to be draws, like, unlike having a 3/3 on turn 1, you're just going to have these draws where you don't have the Chaos Adventurer, and you have this like mediocre card at best. But again, this deck's going to prey on, the list that I'm showing here has Blood Moon in it and Fable. And then it's just going to be able to prey on you by just being like, okay, I'm going to go turn 1 Blood Moon. Did you stop that? No? Okay, sweet. I'll just beat you while you try to develop any mana by just running through the dungeon 20 times.
To be fair, like, if Blood Moon's shutting somebody down, like Goblin Rabblemaster does it too, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Does it, where
it really doesn't matter.
JPA has a famous article about this very deck, Mono Red Stompy, which is just titled "Your Pet Card is Bad," and it's very likely Stirring Bard and Blood Boil Sorcerer are just bad and not should. Like, the truth is, Goblin Rabblemaster and other 3-drops you can get down in turn 1 are going to be better than those. Caves of Chaos Defiler, maybe that's good enough to actually be a 4-drop in the deck. But again, the truth going forward is probably just going to be initiative tools within decks, whether it's the Stoneforge equipment that is able to make the initiative happen, or whether it's these like 4-drops in various colors.
Which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's the way it was so focused, hyper focused on initiative for the mono white was what killed me, because there was just so much protection in it, and there was just so much redundancy of like always hitting.
Yep.
That it was impossible to compete with.
All right. So yeah, it's I don't know if the initiative decks are going to go into start splitting colors, because once you do that, you really lose value on City of Traders and Ancient Tomb, just because now you have to have fetch lands in your deck to find either like a scrub land to be black white or whatever it's going to be. So like the deck is probably best utilized as a monocolored deck, and the only one that's good so far I've seen, like, or Ollie said, was the black and the red variants right now. I don't know if white will stick around, but so what will become the next big decks, man? And obviously Delver still probably the best deck. Don't sleep on that. You're still going to see that at your local scene. If most likely there's going to be like 2 to 3 guys probably playing it that are coming down to beat you down. But like Doomsday is probably where people are going. Cards like Thought Monitor, Artifact Blue, which is where you take your Ancient Tombs and your City of Traders next. Yep.
That card's good.
Minskin Boo / Teamer variants or band variants.
That's what's going to come back now that Expressive Iteration's gone. That right there,
Earl.
that's the card.
Yeah, I'll be playing in it.
I mean, I'm building a Teamer deck as we speak because I just want to play my Minskin Boo.
So
that's the one.
The big decks to be looking for is Delver, of course, will remain a top contender. It will remain a tier 1 deck. But now all of a sudden, all these decks that we talked about in the very beginning that are able to prey on Delver but got farmed by Mono White, those decks all of a sudden get really unlocked.
Yep.
The big ones for that being like Bant Control or Bant Splashing Red. It turns out Uro is still absolutely insane against Delver, and as in this way, control decks can start to come back. Like we talked about in the very beginning, trying to control out a deck that is looping EIs is incredibly difficult.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, we're going to be able to play this game against Delver, where they are running out of cards, and you can actually stabilize as the control deck. The other thing on here that I, of course, am an absolute Doomsday stan. I love that deck so very much. Doomsday is in an interesting spot where Doomsday was actually favored against mono white, but like a lot of people I don't think realize that. And Doomsday might not be in an amazing spot in terms of the amount of Delver that is present. Where if Delver is still the #1 deck and they are no longer tuning their deck to beat mono white, maybe it is more difficult in that matchup. Really experienced Doomsday pilots, they claim that it's getting closer and closer to a 50-50 with every new week. But the question is how that really is going to lay out. The big thing to determine how good Doomsday is in the metagame is the other decks that rise up to be in its place. Where if there are a bunch of nonsense piles that start to come up, then maybe Doomsday becomes better and better. If Painter goes on the down tick, for instance, where Painter and Cephalid Breakfast were just two decks that were really good in the field, right? Where they had decent Delver matchups, but they were also able to play against mono white really, really well. They were able to just do combo in a resilient way that beats 1 or 2 swords, and that's why they kind of start to take up so much more of the meta share. Painter coming up was kind of like the biggest thing that made Doomsday more difficult in this last format, along with his bad Delver matchup, rather than mono white being this Chalice deck that's hitting fast.
Right.
So it's up in the air of what's going to exactly happen with Doomsday. I know I'm sleeving it up to start playing it again. But it might not be us. It might turn out that this new metagame is not actually that much better for Doomsday. Control, it seems like a slam dunk. That's going to be a fantastic deck to be able to. All the control decks will be great. Similarly, lands and depths. Lands in particular had a really, really hard had a really hard mono white matchup.
Can't beat initiative to save his life.
Yeah, like.
I mean, it's the same thing. It's like playing against any other combo deck, right? Lands is like, oh, stop.
Except even worse because like
can't mind break trap it.
Your combo, your like Sphere of Resistance did nothing, and like all of your anti-combo cards are just bad. And they just play the initiative, and then the game was over. They just never let you make merit. And similarly, Green-White Depths, where Green-White Depths has bolstered a really positive win rate against Delver, and will continue going forward. The issue, of course, is if other combo decks start to come back, like if Doomsday comes back up, then Depths becomes harder. There's just so many variables up in the air in terms of what's going to become the top dog. We just know Delver will be there, Control will be better, the lands-based strategies will be better. And the Doomsday thing is a little up in the air to me, honestly. I think it's very likely it gets slightly better, but we'll see.
I think people are moving like they're just why I put both Thought Monitor the Mono Blue artifact and Painter is just people that have Ancient Tombs and City of Traders got to do something with them, and these are the next avenues. Like where can I use this busted Ancient Tomb? All right, well I'll go here.
That's a card I don't know what to feel about. It's like $80 right now. I would not hold on to mine if I had them.
They might reprint it. The card I would actually, if there's a card I could tell you to ship, and this is just me a total guess, Painter Servant, it has to be coming in Commander Masters.
Right. Yeah.
I would be floored if it didn't.
I was gonna say the rest of the Thought Monitor deck is cheap too, other than Force of Will. It's super cheap.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like Ancient Tombs
$20.
being the expensive card is like where you have to go with easy, but it's more or less City of Traders.
Yeah.
All right.
It kind of depends on if we're talking about 8-cast or like Mono Blue Painter, but yeah, for the most part, 8-cast is a relatively cheap deck.
Crystal
with just the there's no RL cards.
Yep.
So JB's probably gonna love this, but compile like a decks I thought will come back to life. So lands is probably going to be back on the map, right? Like that's going to just start existing just because they don't have to deal with 4 Solitude and 4 Swords of Plowshares on top of just the initiative anymore. So it breathes some life into the format, and if people are going to do some wonky stuff, this is your opportunity to punish them with the loops of Wasteland, then also threatening Dark Depths.
I just got my old border Japanese Dark Depths in the mail today. Or not today, this week.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Elves because, again, just maybe it's Solitude and Swords Plowshares that was like kind of pushing these decks down more than anything. I know the initiative was good, but it's compiled with the card advantage of initiative plus being able to just remove anything that could get the initiative, But
Solitude.
Elves, I think D&T is back. Like, I think that's going to be the premier white deck versus anybody trying to do white initiative anymore.
Yorion, I hate that.
Dude, our legacy scene had like 5 D&T players last.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
Oh, damn.
You're just getting stomped by them.
Yeah, Crew to the Guard is a tough card to deal with, especially when you're playing Allurin. You're like, you just get to tutor for the legendary thing that blows up my Allurin, and then also you get to Crocus it back to your hand. I can't beat this, Loran. Yeah. So, other decks as well. I think Blue-White can come back, to be a real deck. We can start looking at Triumph of St. Catherine. I think that card was good, but now that, Mono-White, just the initiative is not so pressing, you can start going back to these packages where you win off Planeswalkers versus having to wait.
I will never go back to Jace again. I won't.
Right.
Just won't.
You're missing out. It's a good life. Possibly your typical, what is it called?
Kind of their Reliquary is one of those cards that,
hangs on.
It, and you're like, wow, this card, and then someone plays against you in 2023, and it's whooping your butt, and you're like,
That's an
what?
8/8, and you're like, I lost.
What is happening? What is this, dude?
Yeah.
That card
So
always
your
never
green-white
ceases to
variables,
amaze
which is a green-white base, blue, which is sometimes some amount of Night of the Reliquaries. They don't always play 4, but when they you see that card come around and you're like, okay, what are all the tricks they have again? Oh right, Maze of It. Oh right, and then you're like, damn it, this is good. And then
Dude, oh my god,
I think the Rise of Show and Tell will come back because again, Ancient Tomb needs
that's
to go
another
somewhere.
thing that people who have blue-red mana bases and they don't want, and they want to give up on Delver. That is also the next deck that they switch over.
Yeah,
to.
and right now because of the reprint of Emrakul and Grizzlebrand being under $20 each, it's is easy pickup. Same with Omniscience. All those big dumb doofs are not because of the last double masters. They've all just come down.
Sneak attack.
Yep.
Sneak attack.
Sneak attack is $10-12.
Well, it got printed twice last year.
Yep.
So yeah, I think these are the decks that are gonna come back. Obviously, there's other things that exist because Legacy is such a broad format, but the things that were kind of popular before in the Delver world, I think these will sneak back in now that again, this initiative turn 1 plays that these decks probably had just 0 game against has the ability to come back into. But yeah. All right.
And I'm ready. I am ready.
All right.
Yes.
So
Days.
So
No. Days gets a pass.
Twitter was interesting this week, and they said, "Did we ban enough?" And some of the questions or the cards were Days, Ancient Tomb, and City of Traders.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will
All
just
right.
say that when you asked me to come on here, I did not know that we were going to be going over this topic, and I'm slightly salty
I
about the
wouldn't
fact
even
that we
start
haven't talked about this.
I wouldn't even start with any. I wouldn't even start with any of these cards. I wouldn't even start with any of these cards. You know what the next card I would ban after those are? And I
If
think
you
it
say
might shock
Brainstorm, you
you.
can't.
It's not. It's Murktide.
Why?
Every other delve spell is banned.
No.
What are you talking about?
Treasure Cruise. Dig
Next, you're
Through
going to
Time.
take my Gurmag Angler, aren't
Yeah,
you?
please
I
don't
was
take
about to say,
that.
what are you talking about?
Gurmag Angler doesn't fly. I mean,
I guess I'll have to play
not blue.
Tassinger again.
Don't
Gurmag
take-
Angler doesn't.
Oh man,
force
I got
you.
him still.
Don't make me play Tomb Stalker Dog.
You guys act like Murktide isn't what wins the game.
No.
All right.
Days-
Nobody
So,
disagrees with
okay.
that.
All right, Ollie, give it to us.
All right, so I have a really kind of strict ban philosophy, which is that ban discussion makes my eyes roll to the back of my head.
Right.
I really believe that one of the best ways to approach the game is to treat it as a puzzle that we are working with certain pieces, right? That said, if we need to start discussing bans and we need to start discussing whether or not certain things could exist, I am more open in these conversations to be discussing old pillars and whether or not they should be existing, right? I think one of the best bans, or one of the best ban, I don't want to say initiatives, that's ironic. One of the best ban mentalities that Wizards have ever had was in the beginning of Pioneer, where every single week what they were doing is they were fundamentally constructing the format and they were overturning things. And on a week-by-week basis, it's like, all right, we're banning Oath of Nissa. All right, we're banning Felidar Guardian.
Yep.
All right, we're unbanning Oath of Nissa. All right, we're doing this. And that was kind of like the Wild West of it's this beginning format of we're figuring out what all the
Right.
broken stuff is. And like it's a little different in that way.
I think they
But
should
at
start
that
over
point, they
there.
were like really fundamentally looking at the pillars of the format and kind of deciding what they wanted to have in it. That said, there's a lot of pillars in Legacy that are holy grails that I really love playing with. Like, I honestly really love playing against Days because I think it is a really interesting variable within the game to have to be considering, right?
Sure.
When do I need to be jamming into days because me giving additional time is ultimately going to lose me the game, or do I need to just be kind of dialing it back and never being able to let a days convert on me? I think also of note on days specifically that days' busted level has a lot to do with Mystic Sanctuary, in my opinion, and the ability to pick up and put things back
Sure.
down. And what like and maybe that's a discussion of Mystic Sanctuary in general, right? Of like how busted is it against like Miracles, the fact that once a single Terminus is cast, every single fetch land I need to treat like there's a Terminus.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a whole other that's another point entirely. Patrick Chapin, when like True Name Nemesis came out, I think we talked about this in one of your previous casts. When True Name Nemesis came out and everybody was complaining about it as like this first supplemental product card that ever ruined Legacy, or quote unquote ruined Legacy, he said, what would we be saying if True Name Nemesis had come out in Tempest and Wasteland just came out in Commander 2016,
right?
Or whatever, right? Where there are some really old cards that have been pillars in the format for a really, really long time that we just accept as pillars and maybe have like kind of like busted play patterns, maybe they have negative effects on the format. I think that the Ancient Tomb City of Traders argument of maybe having fast mana is a detrimental thing to the format. You know what? I can respect that take. The argument of, hey, maybe having days in the format making it so the decks can't be playing as many 3-drops and 4-drops and 5-drops as they might otherwise. You know what? Maybe that's a valid take as well.
Sure.
The thing that I struggle with is actually making a definitive stance on like, I don't like days. I don't want days in my format because like, I don't think it's this black and white thing as much as it is like, I can understand the perspective of why days is a negative thing for the format because it's less likely that decks can jam Night of the Reliquary on turn 3, right?
Yeah.
Or play Questing Beast or whatever these random 4-drops and 5-drops are. But I also really like the other side of having days in the format, of being able to play against days or have days myself, right? Where there's no hard stance for me to take on any of this. I can respect any conversation that isn't like, oh, this is the new card making things bad, let's ban the new card. I can respect these conversations that are saying, hey, these old pillars, maybe we shouldn't have them. But at a certain point, if we are just sitting here and just like talking about bans for the sake of talking about bans and complaining, then my eyes roll into the back of my head and I start to disassociate and kind of think,
all right,
have for lunch tomorrow.
So EI's dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we bring back Monkey?
Come on, dude. Did you ever have someone cast your Brainstorm?
No, I've cast someone else's Brainstorm.
That's what I'm saying. It's the worst feeling. You're like, why am I even trying? Why am I not just playing this stupid Monkey? You know. But no, that's
there's some cards that could definitely come off the list, though.
Well, Survival would be one of them.
Survival.
I would argue that Survival was a pillar, and then Vengevine came on, and then we go, oh, well, we have a problem. Instead of just shipping Vengevine on its $20 whatever kick that goes on. 1 week it's $4. 1 week. Yeah. It's maybe it's the bias of it because Survival is just one of those cards that I love. I'd like for it to come back, but it's just not. I don't think we're in that world where it'll ever come back. Just because I think people forgot
pricing.
Well, let's say if you were well, it'd be like $1 million, but you have to kick out Vengevine of the format, which Vengevine's already not in the format, so who cares, right? Where would Survival go? Who knows? But it was just completely busted by going like, all right, Survival Vengevine, Basking Root Walla. Here we go.
I think the big issue with Survival, I think that it would be actually a great unban for the format, to be totally honest. I think the big issue with Survival is the price issue that happens with it.
Yeah,
the second you unban Survival,
it's $3,000.
Yeah, it's a $2,000 card that you need 4 of for these decks, and it's all of a sudden like vintage territory. Maybe that like isn't a good argument in a world where like we have played Yorion decks with like 8 duels in them.
Yeah. Well, it's valid because right now what is a Survival? It's like $250, right? $300.
Yeah, it immediately jumps up to be a $500, $600 card. It's a $2,000 play set. And it likely, honestly, even a higher price than that. To be totally honest,
I think it's absurd.
The fact that And the fact that every Legacy player all of a sudden is like, yes, I would like my playset now, and then we just compete against each other to get it.
But is that how we feel about elves when they changed the legendary rules? So like you could chain Gaia's Cradles, you know? That I mean Gaia's Cradles like price history was like 25, then 100, and now it's a G, right? And it's like, well, I mean it's still in the format, it's still completely busted, but it's like
well, that's not Legacy. Let's be real. Come on.
Yeah, that's more CEDH.
Oh, fair. But even so, with Legacy, like with elves, I mean, it might be the only exclusive deck that plays 3 to 4 Gaia's Cradles. When they did change that rule, it made them better because then you weren't just locked with having Gaia's Cradles or having to crop rotation one into the other, you know. Which is still the play pattern they do now, but it's just like, oh, if you drew, it's the same thing with Mox Opal. Mox Opal had the same price spike where, we changed the rule so you. Like the original Mox Opal, the fact that if you drew any additional Mox Opals, they were just useless because if you played them, they both died. Well, now they don't. Now they chain. And it's like, oh, this card got way better, you know?
Right.
Like you'd actually have dead draws in Affinity for Modern, but more or less the ban policy. I think Ancient Tomb and City of Traders,
they're fine. I don't care.
Well, it's got an inherent lifeline, unless we're just okay with having it be banned like the 3-drops.
For what it's worth, Crystal Vein is the same card as City of Traders.
No, it's all right. Everyone says that. No, it is so much worse.
It's so bad.
Let me tell you how good 4 mana on turn 2 is after you cast a 2-mana spell on turn 1. That is something Crystal Vein does not do.
Yeah.
Just do it with 2 City of Traders then.
Well, you can chain them, I guess. But yeah, so with it may be the design of Magic, to be honest with you, because it's the mana system is it's the beauty of the game. It creates so many different dynamics of the game, but it boxes you in because from a card design standpoint, like when you want to push a 2-drop, a 3-drop, you have to be very careful. Like I think the solution to that would be just make sure that if you're going to push a card a little bit deep, have like a CMC like Endurance where it's green 1, you know, where Ancient Tomb doesn't help it. Like if you want to push your design, you're gonna like Leovold's a perfect example. Like that's a push design and it's great. And it was obviously horrible for Commander because everybody hates not being able to draw cards. But in Legacy, it was absolutely fantastic. But it demanded a mana base out of you that was punishing. Whereas White Plume Adventurer, which is white and 2, it's like okay, well it takes nothing, and now that's why the Chromoxes and the Lotus Petal plays and all that are available. So. Maybe this is something from a design standpoint, but they want to push the envelope. So, and it's not like we can do 2.5 mana. This is a 3-drop. This has to be theoretically, from a design standpoint, a mythic that's stronger than a 2-drop and a 1-drop. That is, whatever it may be, just because of how mana works.
Here's my question: What's your guys' argument about Days again?
Oh, the Days dongle? You want to hear it?
I think it's fine.
Oh my god.
Is there theme music for this when we start?
There was. I can let me pull it up.
No, don't pull it up. Just tell me your guys' argument about
coin
Days
flips.
again.
Amazing on the play, horrible on the draw, and I hate that there's a card that that might be all of Magic, right? But that one specifically, like on the play, it is the nut when you go turn 1 DRC. And have Days back up, and then
it just feels terrible.
You like as a deck that like it's just me being salty about Delver really, but like as a deck that wants to play arrows and stuff, I just hate it. Like I'm just like I'm on the draw here, so like I have to play around Days for the next 4 turns.
Yeah, I guess I'll be 2 turns behind instead of 1.
Yeah, cool.
If I lose the coin flip.
Whereas if it's the other way around, like it's like I can push through that stuff. Like
yeah, I feel way better if I won the coin flip and I'm playing against today's deck. I'm like, okay,
and that could be an argument that's said about like all cards, but
I
really
go
Days...
turn 1, play a land. You go turn 1 DRC. I go turn 2, remove your DRC with backup for Days. Yeah, it's like cool. If I don't go on turn 1 and you go turn 1 DRC, I go well. I gotta wait now, and you're gonna get tons of value out of this thing. I'm just gonna get my butt whooped.
I don't play enough Legacy to care.
Neither do I. But like,
I have so much respect for that take, Jeff. Oh my goodness.
Neither do I.
I'll admit I don't like playing against Days, but like I just like it's whatever. It's Legacy. There are far worse things in the format besides Days. I think Brainstorm is worse than Days.
Well, that's obvious, but nobody's arguing that.
Jeff speaks to a really great thing about Legacy, which is like, you know what? I may have just got turn 1 Grizzle branded, but you want to know what? We're all here playing Legacy. Like,
Exactly.
sometimes my deck is the one that Legacy's the other person.
Yeah, I'm sure
sometimes
there's
it's the opponent's deck that Legacy's me. You know what I mean?
I'm
You
sure
know how
there-
many times Tony has told me that burn is bad in a format, and I've overperformed with the deck. It just happens sometimes.
Yeah,
Until you play me, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
yeah, more power to
Here's
you,
a
man.
card digging through the Legacy ban list. Here's a card I didn't know was banned.
Imperial
that
Seal?
could make-
Earthcraft.
You unban that, and Doomsday Wit is just the best deck.
Yeah,
yeah.
Imagine,
It's a
imagine
sorcery.
personal tutor.
It doesn't matter. It's the unknown. Yeah. It's the personal tutor. You have to show
sorcery.
the information, so you go, okay, I know what his plan is. Whereas that there's no information shown, and then it's
And you have
completely
to put it on top so
Oh.
that you can predict it away.
Personal
You
tutor
get minor
also.
misstep.
Listen, personal tutor also only gets Doomsday and Ponder. Where Imperial Seal, what it is able to do is it is able to get Force Protect, or it is also able to get Dark Ritual to set up for turn 2 kill.
Yeah.
Along with that, Predict. Like, sure, you can spend 2 mana to just counter my Imperial Seal after the fact, but that's kind of all it does.
But you don't get to see the card. You're guessing. I guess.
Yeah,
you-
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Imperial Seal needs to stay on that ban list. I would love like 3 months of it unbanned so I can just play Doomsday and crush
Sorry.
everything that is
Yeah.
Doomsday, though.
There's,
But like, if you want to unban it, like I'm all for it. I was
No, I like this
Before we
idea of
became
unbanning everything except for obvious like the Power 9 and like
That's
the
called
anti-cards,
vintage.
can't do that because of price.
and like just starting over.
It was great with Pioneer because everything was like, if you had $200, you had every Pioneer deck because that's what was the threshold of the time. But the same is not true for Legacy, where it's like, hey guys, break the format. First off, like, good luck trying to get any ticket. Like, imagine the amount of tickets that survivals are on MTGO or wherever the hell they are, and then or any rental service. And then on top of that, like people that have them in person, like there won't be the data to provide backing up why we're banning stuff. Just because, I mean, let's say survival's unbanned tomorrow. How many guys are going to show up at local events with survival? It's going to be a minute. It's going to be 4 months before everybody collects all the survivals, and then that's where we would be at.
I'm not seeing.
And then
anything
you
else so
bought, let's say you bought $2,000 in survivals, and then they just go banned again, and you're like, oh, there goes $1,600 in the can. Whereas like
And that format exists already. It's literally called vintage.
yeah, good point.
What about Tinker?
No.
Vintage.
You know why Tinker can't be unbanned?
Why?
Come on, dude.
Turn 1 blade steel, bro.
It's not even good. That's the worst.
I
card.
know.
That's not even good, right?
I know.
That's all the other dumb artifacts that they've.
This is literally why vintage exists.
Turn
for
one,
people
turn
who
one,
like you.
turn one.
who want to
Bolas
play this.
Citadel infinite combo done. Are we done here?
I guess.
That's the best one.
But hang on, how's that any more different than getting like turn 1 belched?
Well, that's
A
fair.
lot different.
Belcher's the Juggalo
Okay.
deck.
Either way, you still if the end result.
Well,
you
it was a
lose, but-
Juggalo deck back when Lion Diamonds were $40.
So hold up. So Ali, you talked about all the cards we had posted and stuff for if we need to ban more. Is there anything you personally think should be banned?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I just
it-
I feel like you didn't really give your thoughts on it.
Well, I'm really a believer that you take things slowly, piece by piece. I think that you run a risk when you start to take out too many cards all at the same time of misconstruing what caused what when you get your results after the fact.
Yeah.
That's why at the time, while we were all talking about with the Regavan ban for historical context, everyone was kind of saying Regavan and EI, Regavan and EI. But I really liked just banning Regavan and see how things set, just so we could really get an understanding of what EI independently did and get to consult it afterwards. I just wish that ban had happened faster. It took a year and a half, 2 years after that Regavan ban for us to come back and hit EI. But I really like going slowly. I don't think there's any big issue at this point. I personally really like the pillars within Legacy.
Yeah.
I like the Ancient Tomb and City of Traders decks existing because I really like stranding
Agree.
them with a Wasteland or watching them kill themselves with an Ancient Tomb.
I
that's
also
just it,
appreciate that style of deck, like the colorless mana-based deck. I appreciate having that deck in the format.
Yeah, it's fair,
Yeah.
dude. It's the best part about the bans is the two decks that were an ongoing issue in the sense of man, this is at some point you just play against those enough. You're like, what am I doing playing anything else that's not an Express Federation or this adventure package? Now we get to explore, and during this explore phase, we'll try to find the most busted thing, and who knows what that may be. Maybe the format does balance out where it's like, hey, it's bigger than a rock paper scissors format. It's like a 7-deck format where it's like these are the 7 top decks. Do whatever you want, and that's like the dream place to be at, right? Whereas those were kind of your 2 best decks, and you had some things come up like a little bit behind it, but they were falling behind for sure.
For sure.
Agree.
All right, dudes.
I am still mad to this day about the Opal dual ban. Because they banned them both at the same time.
It's not a real format
because
anymore.
they were both in the same deck, and they were stomping on everyone.
Yeah.
I really wish they would have just banned
Oko.
Oko.
Ban something
Opal,
that's destroying
Opal
the format.
died for Urza's sins.
That's what I'm saying is I could have played Urza. I could have played Paradoxical Outcome in Modern still if
Sure.
Opal existed, and I would have had so much fun.
Is
I'll
it
be
bad
over
that the
this
only
one
modern
version.
bands I remember are the Amulet Titan bands? Like,
Yeah,
you could-
Summer's
like,
Bloom,
you
which
could
is a
not-
big one.
You could not ask me like if Mystic Sanctuary or Oko got banned first. I wouldn't be able to tell you honestly.
think
I
Right.
only remember the Amulet
Oko
bands.
was banned first.
Well, Mystic Sanctuary, man, that one game ban hurt because that was the last dying breath of Cryptic Command, which is a card near and dear to my heart, and it's gone now.
Cube staple. Just gotta make sure you always are in blue for every time you draft a cube.
R.I.P. Cryptic Command. R.I.P.
Oh yo. Oh yo.
Love them. All right, dudes. That's gonna be it for a show. Josh, you better be hitting me with a hot sizzle, and thanks, Ali, for coming on to talk trash to the rest of my crew.
Worms are just ground dragons. It's
What?
Wednesday, my dudes.
What?
I'm done. Bye.